The Trump economy, the new numbers are out, and Trump economy is killing it. Trump also announces his brand new AI, artificial intelligence company. Are you ready for this? We've been following this since way before. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Shout out to the Quad Club. If you watch 4 episodes a day all the way to the end, then you're in the Quad Club and you're helping pay for my vacation right now in San Diego, even while I work for you. You're worth it. Okay, here's Trump. Now, this is some swirl just in. Trump drafts letter to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, says the New York Times. Now, that's New York Times. They're fake news, but I'm seeing all kinds of rumor. Jerome Powell of the Fed is going to get fired. Jerome Powell of the Fed is not going to get fired. So here's Trump on that whole concept once again. I think he's taking both sides on this thing as a warning to Powell.
You decide that you are going to fire him? Have you drafted a letter?
I haven't drafted a letter.
So you didn't show a letter to Republican lawmakers last night?
No, I talked about the concept of fire him. I said, what do you think? Almost every one of them said I should. But I'm more conservative than they are. We talked about it. In fact, we had 11 of the 12 people here yesterday, for a very big bill having to do with crypto, et cetera, and other things. And all of the votes are going with us, every single vote. But during the conversation, when we were talking about it, I asked, what would you do about that? They all said would fire him.
Okay, there's a big crypto push also. That's part of the news. This is going to be a huge bill that's going to drive Bitcoin up even further. I'm a big supporter of crypto and Bitcoin in general. And Trump is we already are starting to put together a Bitcoin reserve for America. But he's saying he talked about firing Jerome. And while all of his team wants to fire Jerome Powell, he will not fire Jerome Powell. So he's taking both sides of this. I think he just wants Jerome Powell to simply lower the interest rates so he can keep the economy kicking along. We'll get into more of that in just a minute. Here's more. Here's Charlie Kirk. It says, breaking, President Trump just moments ago say it's highly unlikely that he'll fire the Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. Now, here's one from Brianna Morello. This is yesterday. Fed Chair Jerome Powell's firing is imminent, according to Congresswoman Real Anna Paula Luna. And here she is last night. She says, confirmed. Anna Paula Luna says, confirmed his firing is imminent. And this is Jerome Powell down here, the Fed chair. I actually think Trump kind of likes what he does. He wants him to all he wants him to do is lower the interest rates. That's easier than firing the guy and going shopping and get another one approved, right? If you can just get him to lower the interest rates. Here's Greg Price. He says, Jerome Powell, less than a month ago, we're refusing to cut interest rates because everyone I know is forecasting a meaningful increase in inflation from the tariffs. That's his reason why he did it. Core CPI just beat the expectations for the 5th month in a row, and the June monthly change in PPI was 0%. So none of the inflation is coming. So explain that. Now, here's more on the inflation numbers with Michael Singleton over on CNN. Democrats are really bummed that Trump looks really good with the economy. They were wrong about the tariffs creating inflation.
So the top headline numbers are in sync with expectations. When you look at the CPI, you have to look in 2 categories. When you look at goods, we have seen a slight increase in good expectations. When you look at service industry, for the most part, those numbers have remained consistent and resilient. And so most economists who have alerted, there's some worries about goods. We're a consumer economy. So for the most part, unless we see the rate for goods increase beyond the decreases of the service economy, I'm not really worried about tariffs having an impact that will lead to a recession necessarily. We got to track and see what those numbers are ultimately going to be. But so far, the numbers have been pretty good. Dan.
So far, the numbers have been pretty good. And I first quoted Scott Bessent on this from the Treasury saying, watch consumers, watch consumers. If they stop buying, we're in trouble. And the consumers have been buying just fine. So we're not in trouble yet. And wholesale prices keep dropping on goods, which is amazing. Now, this is on fiscal responsibility. I'm just throwing this one in for fun. This is Tim Burchett. You know, my son is in the pool to become a Marine. He's a poolie. And here is Tim Burchett on how the U.S. Marine Corps is the only branch of service that has been able to conduct an audit and pass an audit for their finances.
Hey, everybody. Tim Burchett just left a meeting with the Department of Defense, and we were discussing I was asking about the audits and the overspending. And the Marine Corps has technically passed their audits. And so they've, that's kind of the model for the rest. And I was asking any other branches were going to do it. And the Navy has got a fund. They're going to start using this audit. It's audit model, I guess you'd call it. And hopefully the rest of the military will follow suit. I said in my statement that I didn't think the other branches were really interested in it. I think a lot of members of Congress are interested in it, honestly, because they're profiting. And people out in the business community profit every time, war is good for business, but I think it's horrible for our soul as a country. So anyway, I'd like to see that brought under some restraint at some point. It's ridiculous. We're building things like aircraft carriers, and we know that's outdated just because they're made in influential members' districts, componentry in both parties. And we have been in the past building military apparatus that gets mothballed the day we build it, which means they're just going to stop with it and put it in the desert or in a warehouse somewhere. So anyway, busy day. Thank y'all for sending.
Okay, that's Tim Burchett. Any of you guys have a theory on, is it the Marines or just the most disciplined branch? I don't want to start an inner branch. I honor all military. Anyone who served is a better man than me. But Tim Burchett brings up pretty important stuff. But on a less important note, here is Tim Burchett on a skateboard that he made. Look at this. He just released this. I think that's pretty awesome. Right here, my Tennessee boy is a big skateboarder on a board that he made. Good man. That's probably why he's such an effective guy, as he's so chill and kick back. I'm here in California, man. I used to skate in college all the time. Now let's go to CNBC with more great positive numbers for Trump on the economy. It's wholesale prices. Wholesale prices are flat. Flat is good. When wholesale comes down, the price comes down because Kamala Harris was wrong. They're not gouging you, which she was trying to punish, the pipeline of food, saying they were gouging you is why inflation was going up so much. She was, of course, wrong. We dodged a bullet on Kamala Harris. Here's MSNBC. This is the guy that started the whole Tea Party movement right here.
For the month of June, PPI comes in unchanged. We're expecting up 0.2. Unchanged would be the smallest inflationary wholesale increase since it was minus 0.1 in March of this year. Strip out food and energy, it remains zero, unchanged, zero. And that would comp towards April when we were minus 0.2, which, by the way, was lowest inflation rate going all the way back to April of 2020. If we strip out food, energy, and trade, unchanged. That also would comp towards April of this year. Now, let's take a bigger view, year over year. Year over year headline expected 2.5 comes in 0.2 light, 2.3%. That would be the lightest in the Wayback Machine going to September of last year. If we strip out food and energy, up 2.6, a tenth light. And that is 0.4 less than the rear view mirror, which was up 3%. That 2.6, well, we have to go back to July of last year, 1 year, and that was 2.6. Find a lower number, you're in April of 24. And finally, the year over year, ex food, ex energy, ex trade, 2.5%, 0.2 lighter than 2.7, 2.5. Wayback Machine, you're equally where we were in November of 23. To find a lower number, you're in February of 21. Now, That is all very good news. These numbers are less than expectations. They're sequentially less.
All of the expectations were that Trump would be doing worse, and he's doing better. Costs are down. If he ever got to drill, remember, it takes years to be able to drill. You know, he's got to turn this thing around to start drilling fuel, doing alternate energy. If we can get that energy going in, if we ever got a pipeline going again, this energy prices will drive these prices further down better. All of us will be doing better. So this foundationally, this hits everyone. This including benefits every Democrat leftist that voted against Trump. They're having an easier time financially. The poor, the suckers, the liars that voted for Kamala Harris, even their life is financially better under Trump, especially the poor and middle class with these numbers. They lied about the rich getting all the benefits, and they just don't know. Okay, now, I like that Tim Burchett one of him skating. Here's Mike Johnson explaining why the big, beautiful bill had to be one big bill. And he imitates Trump, the conversation that he had with Trump when Trump said, I want one big, beautiful bill. Watch this.
He's a means chair, and I think JD was there and other staffers, and the president said, what are we going to name? What are we going to call it? And Jason Smith says, well, sir, we got a few great options. You know, these are, clever acronyms. He goes, no, I just think we call it the one big, beautiful bill. Don't you think that's great? That's so simple. It's great. And he passed it around to us on a piece of paper in big bold font, one big, beautiful bill. And he goes, now, can we put an exclamation point? I said, sir, no, we can't do an exclamation point. That's not a thing in legislation.
You can't put a legislative exclamation point on the name of a bill, and Trump tried. And he's the one that gave them the name, and it worked. This goes into his gut marketing influence on that big, beautiful bill. Now, here's the president of Home Depot that originally was against Trump's tariffs, and now all for him. He's a pro-Trump guy, but he was against the tariffs, going, this is going to kill Home Depot. And lo and behold, he's still on board with Trump.
Initially, my concern was, I don't like tariffs.
That's what I mean.
I like free trade.
Right.
However, I think, damn it, give Trump credit. His instincts are good. Some of these things need to be fixed. Take Germany. Take Japan. God bless America. 80 years ago, when the war was over, we made our mind up. We're not going to be the conquering hero. We're going to go in and help these countries rebuild themselves. And we did. To our credit, we did. Japanese, Japan, look at what happened. They're on their feet now. There aren't many American cars sold in Germany, but whatever's sold in Germany, there's a 10% tariff. Every other car in America is a Mercedes. I got a Mercedes, I got an Audi. I can name you all the cars we drive. Most of them are foreign. Now, they sell a hell of a lot more cars here than we do there. 2.5% tariff.
He's just calling out how Trump's tariffs was the right gut instinct, even though many of the economists were against it. Now let's get to Trump's AI company. Watch this. Here's Sean Davis saying this is great news. We should have at least one social media AI, artificial intelligence, that's not trained entirely on left-wing fake news slop. Here's Trump Media applying for AI-related trademarks for Truth Social. This is in Sarasota, Florida. This is just today announced. So first time on this show, guys, on Doug and Exile. Here we go. Trump Media and Technology Group Corp. That's on the NASDAQ under DJT. Trump Media, operator of the social media platform Truth Social, the streaming platform Truth Plus, and the fintech brand Truth.fi, announced today that the company has applied to register trademarks for Truth Social AI and Truth Social AI Search. The trademarks relate to a new Trump Media initiative to develop an artificial intelligence function to appear directly on the Truth Social platform. Trump is getting involved in AI, and that's good. AI is, remember, you hear a lot of people are demonizing AI. AI is just a tool. And like I said, you want it in good people's hands, like the Trump Truth Social, not bad people's hands, like some other certain companies I probably won't be able to name on this platform. But do not fear AI. We should be going in and using it because you want users, you want all of us to be training its data. Here's Mike Davis with a warning. The Senate Judiciary Committee is gearing up to grill big tech, and it's about time, he says. These companies and their arms, AI arms, didn't innovate they stole. Now, this is on a theory. This is true that I don't know if they stole or not, but they definitely, my art was used on Midjourney is a art AI, and they did not ask my permission to use my intellectual property to train their AI to draw my style for other people. So now that should be protected and covered under our normal law, which has normal intellectual property laws that have not gone up against AI yet to start establishing a precedent with lawsuits, whether if they stole or not. But he says that's not progress, it's piracy. This is Mike Davis's opinion. They knew it was illegal and they did it anyway. Why? Because they thought they were untouchable. This goes into why both Mike Davis and Marjorie Taylor Greene did not want that AI carve out, which really infuriated big tech. 17 U.S.C. 506A makes criminal copyright infringement clear, and this qualifies. Now, if that's true, then I could take Midjourney to court. Maybe Mike Davis, maybe I need to get a hold of him to handle that case and we can set up a precedent because they used my intellectual property. It was all largely publicly available on the internet. And I assume they didn't break the law, but if Mike Davis says that they did break the law, then maybe they're right. The DOJ must act now. No more excuses. Google, Amazon, Meta, Apple, doesn't matter the logo. If they stole, they deserve prosecution. No one is too big to jail. Cheers to Josh Hawley, Montana, for leadership on this. So that's Josh Hawley. I might need to look into that a little more. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene says, I just voted no on the rule for the Genius Act because it does not include a ban on central bank digital currency. And now this is if all banks remove the dollar bill and they go to digital, they'll be able to cancel your money digitally, just wipe it out or control it. Speaker Johnson, now she's going after Speaker Johnson, did not allow us to submit amendments to the Genius Act, which normal rules would allow. Americans do not want a government-controlled central bank digital currency. Republicans have a duty to ban the CBDC. President Trump included a ban on CBDC in his January 23rd executive order, and Congress must also include the ban on CBDC in the Genius Act. So she's pushing on that. And I'm happy these people are all making sure that AI is a useful tool, a good tool, but you do not take away our legal system to be able to go in and correct. All businesses should fall under law. That's our protection is that law. And so I'm happy to see that people are going in and making sure that those gateways are still open for us to have some kind of a correction if we need it. What do you guys think? Are you ready to use Trump's Truth Social AI when it comes out? It'll take a while, but he's starting on it. Let me know if you will use it when it comes out. Yes or no? I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe.